You're watching On Demand. Please check the closing time before trying to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
On your Friday's Loose Women Live, it's Kay Adams, Denise Welsh, Kelly Brook and Nadia Sawala.
Hello, welcome to Loose Women. It's Friday! Coming up, you heard the song, How Will I Know If He Really Loves Me? But is it ever okay to say it if you don't mean it? Find out why a confession from our very own Casey on the latest Loose Women podcast has sparked a big debate. Also today we're talking deathbed conversations. Is it ever acceptable to lie to someone before they die, even if it's to make them feel better? That's at 1 o'clock. Then...
I shoplifted blue eyeliners, clothes, Morgan tops. I remember finding it really exciting and feeling like I'd gotten away with it. You know, when you walk out the shop.
Documentary maker Stacey Dooley will be here. She'll be telling us about confronting shoplifters, raising a toddler, and why she owes other mums an apology. But first today, women over 65 are making up more of Britain's workforce than ever before. But is it because they feel they have to due to the rising pension age, or is it because they want to? Now, Denise, this was an article that was... And I'm coming to you, of course, as the elder stateswoman of our panel here.
Oh dear, that's not going to go down well. From someone who lied about her age till last year.
All right.
10 years of a lie, not a year. 10 years.
Anyway, this journalist wrote, what kind of society are we that kindly grey-haired ladies are having to slave away in what should be their golden years, one might
Denise
wonder.
and Kay in toxic feud.
Some of the 60-something women will still be at work by choice, but in many cases, it's simply a question of financial necessity and by compulsion. The next line's a good one. Let's not forget that women in their 60s are often expected to look after grandchildren or their own elderly parents, sometimes both. And if they're compelled to remain at work, it will leave a gaping chasm in care. Is that not patronising?
Who wrote that? A woman?
What?
Did a woman write that?
A woman wrote that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No,
Do you don't think it's patronising?
That is patronising. I think that the article itself is quite important to discuss, but the way that that is worded, kindly grey-haired women, is very patronising.
Need to get home and look after people.
But we are very fortunate to, I mean, thank God for this show. You know, we employ women from 25 to 85. It's a, you know, we're very lucky and quite...
We would be on the scrap heap, wouldn't we?
Well, I know, exactly. So I am very lucky that I do a job that I enjoy and I choose to keep working. But there are many people that I have spoken to, many people in the northeast where I'm from, of retirement age or so they thought, who have done a job most of their life that they don't like. They've done it to keep the wolf from the door and to feed their family, and admirably so. And it's not fair to keep moving those goalposts. So people prepare to retire at a certain age, and now it keeps moving. And that's devastating to these people. And I think that's who we're talking about. And I don't know how they can justify it.
Well, I mean, it is interesting to know that, you know, this was outlined in the Pensions Act 2011. So we have known for 14 or 15 years the way that it was going to be, that it was going to move to 66 for both men and women by October 2020. So it's equalised, because it used to be different for men than it was for women. It's now been equalised. And eventually it's going to move to 68.
Well, why don't they change it, Kay?
Because they can't afford it, because we're all living
Why don't
long...
they take a little speck from the war budget and put it into looking after people in this country and looking after our pensioners?
Because
they seem to find money for every other bloody thing. Excuse my phrase.
I think they might be trying to protect democracy, but, you know, but that is going to be a short-term measure because hopefully we're all going to live longer. We're all living a lot longer and some of us more healthy than others. I think we have a real problem with the health of people. We need to help people with that. But if we're living longer in retirement and we're having fewer babies, there just aren't going to be enough young people who are economically active enough to keep the old people unemployed, and that is the brutal reality of it.
But it's so unfair, isn't it, when people are pushed out of the job? We were just talking to somebody, weren't we, from production, whose sister, who was still loving her job at 60 and was told that she couldn't work anymore. She was pension and out. And I think, when I think of my mum, you know, who's 87, and how she creates work all day for herself. She's always on the computer, always doing that need to work in some people. Not, and I have friends as well, like that, who've like are just sick and tired. They've worked hard, they haven't enjoyed their job, and they want to get to the end. But I do think it's very brutal to make a person stop work when they don't want to.
Men and women. There's lots of men who do jobs, you know, for 40, 50 years and they bloom and hate them and they do them because they're trying to keep the family together. Yeah. You know, so it's not just a female thing. And what was interesting about that article is that then who's going to care for people if women are still working?
Yeah. I do
it's
think
hard work caring
but
for
the thing
people.
is, there is so much ageism in the workplace, isn't there, in general? And I remember, you know, over the years I've worked with some fantastic senior people that I've learnt so much from, only for them to lose their jobs and make way for a younger generation that have less experience, that are coming through.
And they're cheaper.
Because they're cheaper. They've just been made completely redundant because people don't want to pay them what they've worked their whole life to be paid, and I just think that's outrageous.
The other thing
there should be a place in the workplace for older people that have, you know, come up, that they've learnt their trades, that, you know, they're at the top of their game, and then all of a sudden just to be sidelined. I just think that's outrageous.
I mean, the other thing is that
Denise is going to leave after this show, isn't it?
People working until they're 68, but what's happening is as well, and we discussed it on a show the other day.
How old are you just now?
Is that I'll be 67 in May. Thank you.
So can you see yourself
God,
retiring?
I'm talking. I've lost my thread now. It's the fact that I can't even remember what I was saying. Is it an age thing, Denise? They're making it technically so difficult for people of 68 to work because the people don't understand what's going on. We're ousting the older generation, but expecting them to work for longer, whereas we don't even let them go to the blooming till in a supermarket anymore because of all the digital stuff.
This is it. There's nowhere for them to go.
Asking me to ask the audience, who here, men and women, would still like to be working at 68? Thank you very much. Good night, Kay Adams. Thank you very much.
OK, would you like still to be working at 68?
That's because I like my job, even though I work with you amazingly.
Is your hand up or down?
That's a private conversation.
Oh, let's move on. If you thought that was a load of rubbish, wait till you hear the next lot. Quite literally, especially, actually, this is not funny, especially for the residents of Birmingham at the moment. My goodness. They are living through what is called a so-called bin-mageddon. This is following strikes by refuse collectors. They had an emergency bin collection yesterday, and some residents were seen chasing the bin lorries down the street with full wheelie bins, emptying out cars filled with black sacks and streets piled with rubbish.
Wow. Rats.
Cat-sized rats seen roaming the city night. Is there a rat in there?
That's a cat.
No, that's a cat. That is a cat.
That's a cat.
It's not a rat the size of a cat.
No, but there are apparently cat-sized rats. And there's fights there. I mean, they had this in Edinburgh a couple of years ago at the time of the festival, and it wasn't as bad as that, I have to say. But even as bad as it was horrible. You know, unless you're actually in that sort of state.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Horrendous.
Because it just feels that everything is crumbling down.
Christmas is bad enough when they're not there for a few weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just think, like, if you talk to the Brits about weather or bins, that's the most passionate thing. And because I live next door to my mum and dad, so they come round a lot, but the first thing we always discuss is the bins, like whether they were taken, whether the garden bin was taken, you'd put something in the wrong bin. Well, I mean, don't forget, I was Binder Woman. I was out there fighting for the locals. Do you remember when they dressed me up as Binder Woman here?
There she is.
That's
But they had problems in your area, didn't they?
We had problems in my area.
And it looked as if you really sorted it out, Nadia.
They came that day after the show and took my bins. Yeah, but we do get passionate about it. You're passionate about it.
I was living in a flat for a bit, and we were sharing bins with these teenagers that would just put like pizza boxes, all sorts in there, no lid, not bagged up. And one morning I got up really early to come to work and it was just crawling with maggots. It traumatised me so much that now I have this guy, Dean, he's so lovely. He comes every 3 weeks with his power washer. And he washes the bins and I get different flavours. It can be bubble gum one week.
What, do you lick them?
he knocks on the door and goes, Kelly, do you want to come and sniff your bins? I'm like, oh, I'll be right out, Dean. It's our little thing. And I go out, he opens the lid, I have a little... Yeah, it's lovely.
I think Dean's into something else, quite frankly.
Honestly, I cannot.
I'm just wondering if Dean does any other bins.
I know.
It's just your bin. Yeah. I never think to
Favourite smell?
I do like the lemon and lime. He's got variety, so it depends what time of year. Sometimes we go for a cinnamon scented one when it's Christmas time.
Oh, nice. Well, I always clean out all my yoghurt pots, all my tins. Do you, Denise? Anyway, shall we move on? Coming up next, the hot debate sparked by a confession of our Katie on the Loose Women podcast. Is it OK to say I love you if you don't mean it? These three all have. And as actor, the White Lotus actor Patrick Schwarzenegger models new lingerie for grooms. Did you make an effort on your wedding night to garter or not to garter? Oh, no. That is the question. Do you want this back, by the way? We'll see you in a few. Good to see you again. Still to come, we are talking deathbed conversations. But is it ever OK to lie to a loved one when they're dying to make them feel happier? That is at 1 o'clock. The latest episode of Loose Women, the podcast, is out today, and it is the turn of Colleen and Katie to answer your questions, and they are opening up about falling in love or not.
I used to always ask my mum, like, how will I know when I'm in love? And my mum was like, well, you won't have to ask that question.
No, you'll just know.
Yeah, and I never understood that. And I'm not... Well, I was really annoyed. I was like, so unhelpful, like, you know, and I was really bad. I'd tell every boyfriend I had that I loved them. I just basically wasn't very authentic.
I'm finding so much about you,
I just think I was a bit of a people pleaser. Like, if a guy said it to me first, I would reciprocate it because I couldn't have the awkwardness of being like...
Because they're waiting for you to
like
say,
you
I love
too.
you.
Oh,
no.
And Katie goes on to say how it's real love with her husband, Rich. But have you ever said that you love somebody without meaning it?
Oh, yes, I have. It's horrible, isn't it? I think... All right.
Don't judge her, she's lovely.
I was in a relationship which was probably supposed to be a 6-month relationship. It turned out to be like 3 years. And this person, there was nothing wrong with this person. They were everything on paper, you know, good looking, sporty, lovely, funny, just lovely. There was nothing wrong with them, but I just did not have that feeling. And I knew that they were in love with me. Ooh. And I just thought it was going to grow. I thought we would get there at some point, and we were overcoming obstacles and certain things that were coming our way that we were dealing with. And I thought, right, once I get that out of the way, I could fall in love with you then. And it never happened.
But when he said, I love you to you, did you say it back?
Of course, because you don't want to break someone's heart.
Did you ever say it
And
first?
it even went to the point where, because I'd said it so many times, they did propose to me. And at that point, I just thought, oh my... And I was like, oh, we don't have to do this. We don't, you don't have to do that. And it was just the most orcs thing. And in the end, I just had to just own up to it and go, do you know what? It's just not
I'm not in love with you.
I'm not in love with you. Yeah, it was... And they were so angry.
Do you wish you'd played it differently?
100%, because it's just wasting someone's time, isn't it? And I just think I was too immature
hard though, isn't it?
to kind of, be honest about it.
I don't think you did anything wrong, though. I think that, it like you say, if everything seems perfect, because I've had a very similar situation with somebody, and they were, and I just kept thinking, are I must love them because I've got this feeling for them. And like you say, this will come on because this person is wonderful in every way. And so it's not like a mean thing, but it's like it's almost mean to yourself. You go, come on, pull yourself together.
So when does it run out, though?
Yeah, you do.
Because you have these like lustful relationships where it is, you know, you're just.
Do you,
like,
Kelly? Tell us more about that.
and then you have feelings where you care about someone, but love, actual true love, is so rare.
So how did it happen with Jeremy? And I'm taking that statement back as I said it. No, but you know what I mean? So did you know with him instantly? Or was
I think I got to an age where I had no expectations. And I honestly, to be really honest, he was a gorgeous guy and we were dating, you know, long distance for about a year. And it was really gradual. And I think I fell in love with him. Like, it was really, really clear steps in our relationship. And we're his family, you know. He's everything to me. I can't even... I don't know if it's just I'm ready for that now. I'm more mature. I appreciate him more. And also, I'd made so many mistakes with previous relationships. I would not want to hurt him or, like, do that again. I just cherish it so much that it's just a different realm, I think.
Do you have any experience about love, old lady?
She's coming for you to say.
I think you might be playing a bit with fire now. Denise has just given me the look.
I've had many men in love with me, Kay, unlike yourself. I listen, you know, and I know sort of X or Twitter goes, ugh, whenever you're older women talking about, you know, sex and love, but I love my husband. We had the gradual progression, booty call, you know, then on to falling in love and now loving my husband and preferring to be with him than anybody. But I had a similar thing. I'd come out of quite a brutal relationship and went with somebody who genuinely was a lovely person and got me through. And I convinced myself I was in love with this person because I felt so grateful to them. And every time I went to end it, because I knew I wasn't, they would fill up and say, you know, unfortunately, they used to do a baby voice and go, "You're not going to leave me, are you?"
Don't do that, boys.
Because I love you, and I would go, "Of course not, love you." He would say, "Do you love me?" And I'd go, "Of course I love you," because I couldn't bear the heartbreak that I was inflicting on someone. And it lasted far too long till, unfortunately, I met somebody and did it that way, which is the wrong way to do it. But I only had the confidence to do it by going to somebody else. So it was not the right thing. But
I think that's sometimes what happens. You don't know how to get out of a situation, so you cause a crisis. Going somewhere else.
Now you get older, you get wiser, don't you? Mistakes you make when you're younger.
Well, listen, you can listen to that new episode of the Loose Women podcast right now, along with all the episodes so far. You can listen on your usual podcast app, or you can watch it on YouTube, ITVX, and the STV player. Star of the hit drama White Lotus, Patrick Schwarzenegger and his supermodel fiancée are the faces, I don't know if they're the faces, of Kim Kardashian's underwear brand Skims. They're promoting the new wedding night range. There's the pictures. I don't know what you thought of those pictures. A few silky boxers there from Patrick. He says there's no excuse for grooms not to dress up a little bit for the occasion. So, is he right, Kelly?
Well, there's a lot of pressure, isn't there, on your wedding night to, you know...
Stay awake.
Getting married is so stressful and exhausting that Jeremy and I mean, he was all, like, kind of, like, hyped up and everything on our wedding night. I was like, listen, I'm going to bed. Like, I'm literally going to sleep. You do what you want to do.
So many people will say that, though.
I wonder what he did.
You do what you want to do.
No, not to me! Not to me!
I wasn't thinking to you, I was thinking by himself.
Poor soul. No, he went out for for breakfast. He went out for breakfast with some friends. I fell asleep. Actually, it was very traumatic, our wedding. So I went to sleep. We'd got married in this lovely Italian villa that we'd rented. And my friend's a florist. And she got up really early the next day. The first day I was married, a married woman, she got up really early. She was like, I'm going to go to the villa and get all the flowers and bring them back to the hotel so we can enjoy them for the second day. Being a florist, she knows that that's something you can do. I get a phone call at 7 in the morning from my cousin and her. They're hysterical. They are held hostage in the house that we'd rented because Jeremy and I had forgotten to pay the vendor. And it all got very Italian.
They wouldn't let them out.
They were threatening to call the mafia. They wouldn't let them out. I was like, Jeremy, you've got to wake up. We've got to go and save the guests. so we had to drive around this small town in Italy, finding every cash point to try and draw out as much money as we could to go and pay this guy off to let my cousin and my newborn niece and my best friend out of the
So were they locked in?
He wouldn't let anyone out.
Wow.
It was Jeremy. It's just what they do in Italy. It's just he's just being over the top.
I want to imagine that scene with Jeremy in silky boxer shorts.
Imagine him in silky boxer shorts at a cash point trying to get money out to rescue.
I like it. Well, we won't even ask you, Nadia, because you were 6 months up the duff. Still to come. Presenter Stacey Dooley shares why meeting a nun convinced her to become a mum. And in a few minutes, a heart-wrenching dilemma. Is it OK to lie to a loved one on their deathbed, even if it is to make them happier? We'll let you wrestle with that one over the break and share our thoughts next.
On Monday, she's the singer turned best-selling author. Pop star Paloma Faith joins us to ask, can women really have it all? Determined never to be stereotyped, she'll open up about life as a single mum and why she will never stop being outspoken. Paloma Faith, Monday, 12:30 on Loose Women.
Welcome back to Loose Women Live. And your Girl Fridays this week alongside me, Kay Adams, are Denzi Squelch, Kelly Brook and Nadia Sawala. Still to come, presenter and documentary maker Stacey Dooley is here telling us why she wanted to reveal all of the messy truths of motherhood and admitting why she doesn't really have any mum friends. But it is competition time now. Lines close at 3 p.m. for your extra chances to win. And it's great news because Kate Lawler is in the studio with us. Hi, guys.
It's really nice to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to have you. You're usually somewhere out in the glamorous place, but you're here with some very special guests, aren't you?
I know, I am. Well, it's a big day because we've got our biggest cash prize of the year so far to tell you about. £250,000. Exactly. There's a Mexican wave coming. I love the energy. Imagine that, winning £250,000, £250,000 in tax-free cash could be heading into your bank account. Now, I'm also here to tell you about the bonus cash prizes of £10,000. There's 5 of them, and bonus cash prize lines close today at 3 p.m. So up until then, you have 6 chances to win. By entering once, you could win either £250,000 or £10,000. It's a no-brainer. Of course you'd like to win. Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, yeah, but people don't really win, do they? No, yes, they do. All right, they do. I wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be paying me to be here to tell you about it if they didn't win. I'm proving it. We're our winners here. Look, we've got winners. These are actual winners. Thanks to ITV Win. First up, we have Brian and Sue. They won 60 grand in cash, a brand new snazzy car and a holiday. Where are you off to?
Maldives.
Give them a Mexican wave. That deserves a Mexican wave. They're going to the Maldives. Angela, how much did you win? £120,000. Anthony and Linda won £10,000 a month for 12 months, a whole year. That's nice, isn't it? Spread out, you don't spend it all at once. And Louise, biggest winner, £1 million. You are sitting with a millionaire. It really could be you winning. So what are you waiting for? Pick up the phone, get entering. All it takes is one entry, and you really could be winning £250,000. Here are all the details. For this week only, you'll also be entered into a bonus prize draw. There are 5 prizes of £10,000 to be won. Lines close today at 3 p.m. For another chance to win, text cash to 80118. Text costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2.50. Call 09011 209 118. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to Bonus 12 PO Box 7558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 4th of April at 3 p.m. For a chance to win £10,000, lines close today at 3 p.m. We'll be calling the winners live during Good Morning Britain, Lorraine, This Morning or Loose Women after all entry routes have closed. Good luck!
Now, in the new series of Netflix documentary series Drive to Survive, F1 driver Charles Leclerc has opened up about the moment that he lied to his dying father in 2017. He told him that he'd already signed to drive in Formula One.
He was very honest with me. Unfortunately, he became unwell. We learned that he would not make it, that there was like 2-3 weeks maybe left. I was in Formula 2 at that time, and it's obviously the last step before Formula 1. It was very difficult for me to accept him leaving, not seeing me and him realize that dream. So one day I just lied and told him that I had signed a Formula 1 contract.
Well, he knew that the news would make his dad happy, and he did eventually make the team. But, well, is it wrong to lie to a dying parent? Actually, when you hear him explain that, I don't know if I would use that word even. It sounds too harsh.
I just think we're just too quick to say what's wrong and right that people do. I think it's up to the individual, and I found that just quite beautiful, actually, him saying that. I'd be fascinated to know how he felt afterwards through the... I mean, did he have any... I don't think he should. I think it's beautiful what he did. But I wonder if he then felt any sort of guilt for it.
I hope not.
I hope not, because I
to
think
be honest,
that was beautiful.
And I hope not, even if he hadn't made it to Formula 1.
Yeah.
I think that he knew. I suppose I get as someone who's not religious that depending on how religious a person is, whether they believe in an afterlife, would that person find out, you know. But I think there is nothing wrong with saying whatever it takes to make that person feel comfortable. I mean, when my dad was dying, having made a recovery, and then he got ill again very quickly, and it became obvious on the last day that there was nothing that they could do. And he was quite sort of, oh, look at him, bless him. He was quite sort of delusional. We didn't know how much he could understand, to the point that we do have to laugh about it, because towards the end, 2 things. One of them, he looked up at me and he said, "Why don't you get rid of that moustache? You've got such a pretty face." Lincoln immediately, by the other side of his bed, started sending me bearded lady photographs. And the other thing was, he kept going to me, "Shh, he's in there." And I said, "Who?" He went, "Michael Sheen, the actor, with a lion." I said, "Why is Michael Sheen there with a lion?" He went, "Publicity." So we didn't know where he was. But a friend of ours came in, and they went up to him unknowingly and just said, you know, "Bye-bye, Vin." And we went, no, we're not saying that. I'm still at the stage where we knew he wasn't going to rally, but I and my sister and that, we were still saying, you know, "Come on, Dad, you can do it. You know, you can do it."
So if he'd asked you, if he'd said
he wasn't
to
in
you,
a position to ask
but if
us.
he had asked, if he'd said, "Do you know how much time I've got at the top?" would you have told him?
No. Not at that stage. I think it very much depends what stage of lucidity.
And also the relationships that you have. I mean, what is right for every individual,
I don't think you should
family and person will all react differently, won't we? I mean, when you lost your dad, Kelly,
I've asked my mum this. I did say to her after he passed, like, did he know that he was dying? Like, he knew he had cancer, but did he know he was dying? And she went, "No, we never had that conversation."
Oh, really?
That it was going to be, you know, terminal in the end. I think there was always that hope with treatment that he would get better. And I do think, from my experience of death, is that, you know, they hold on for you. And I remember getting the call and my mum was like, I don't think he's going to make it through the night, you should come home. And I remember driving to my family home and I just had this really profound feeling of like, you know, it's all right, Dad, you can go. Like, you don't have to hold on, like, you can go, it's fine. And I think he was holding on
For you to go.
for us to give him permission to go.
Oh, right.
I really believe that.
People
and you
often
hear
say
a
that.
lot about people going, oh, I only popped out for a cup of tea and I come back and they were gone. So I don't even think it's a spoken thing. I do think that we, whether you believe in this or not, energetically hold on to loved ones for longer than they really need to be here. Like, sometimes they're just ready to go and you've got to let them go.
You hear it so often, don't you? You hear it from hospice. I follow this hospice nurse and she talks a lot about that. And certainly with Nanny Thelma, we were all sitting with her for days and, like, taking it in shifts. And I remember the nurse saying, you know, it's probably good that you all go home. You know, it's probably, you know, she's probably waiting kind of thing. And sure enough, that night when we all left, she died. Now, I get it, because I'm not going to want to leave the room when my family is still there, I imagine. I imagine that's what it is. And
The one question
We'll never know.
I mean, both my parents are gone, that I would never ask anyone now, particularly after that, is, were you there? Because there is sometimes this thing about, were you there, as if that...
Well, like you failed if you
As if
weren't.
that says how much you love the person.
Yeah, there's it's a kind of loaded question sometimes, and it's not actually something you have control over. And it's exactly as you say, Kelly, sometimes somebody could be sitting there for 2 weeks. We sat there for 2 weeks with my mum, and somebody could leave to get a cup of tea or go to loo or whatever, and then, you know,
You
that
just
they've
don't
gone.
know.
And I don't think people should ever feel that they've missed anything.
Missed that
in
moment,
sense.
exactly.
You know?
I talk about more, I think, about my dad's death because it was considerably recent compared to my mum's, which was like sort of 13 years ago. But in light of what you were saying, when we got the call, because Mum had lived with cancer for 20 years, we got an extra 20 years, which was amazing. But then Dad called one day and said, I think you should come home. And I did. And she had literally lost consciousness. She had an incredibly special relationship with Matty. And she hadn't regained consciousness at all. Matty went in and she had about 5 minutes of lucidity with Matty. And then once
How
he
old
left,
was he?
He must have been, well, he's 36 now, so early 20s. He wrote a song about her called Nana as well. They had a very, very special relationship. And Matty went and she never regained consciousness again after that. So there is probably something in that, isn't there? But you can't judge anybody for how.
Absolutely not.
How they are,
And you know, just going back to that
I think it's
piece there with
wonderful that
Charles
he said
Leclerc,
that.
I thought the way that he spoke, and you could see the love that he had for his father and how special that relationship was. And I think you're right, Kelly, it's often not the sort of things that we say and do. There's an energy, there's a feeling, and all of these things that are less
Well, that's why you
tangible.
should always, you know, tell people that you love them, isn't it? There's a lot of people who say, oh, we're not that sort of family, but they regret it when that person's gone, you know.
Go on then.
Careful, Kay, you know she can lie about it.
I'm an actress, remember.
Joining us next, Stacey Dooley on what she calls messy motherhood and why her new documentary series has led her to believe it is dangerous to be a woman. Loads to discuss with Stacey next. Stacey Dooley is standing by to talk shoplifting, sleep deprivation and shared parenting. But it's competition time again. Kate is back and in the audience. Hi again, Kate.
I'm with our winners club. You could be joining them, guys. Look at all these guys. They are winners and you could be too. So £250,000 is up for grabs. It's our biggest cash prize of the year so far. Along with that, 5 prizes, bonus prizes of £10,000. One entry gets you in the draw for all 6 of those prizes, so you just never know your luck. Now, we've got some lovely questions from our audience. Where's Amanda from Bedworth? Hello, Amanda. Now, Amanda wanted to know what the first thing was you brought Anthony. Anthony.
Brand new car.
That's nice. Did
Yeah,
you buy anything for
love
the
it.
missus as well?
Well, she owns the brand new car.
Oh, OK, so it's a joint car. I love it. Claire from Southampton, where are you? All right, Claire from Southampton says, how many times did you enter, Louise?
Once. One text.
Jumping jellyfish. You won £1 million from one text.
I know. Crazy. 4 hours before the end of the competition as well.
Did you hear that? 4 hours before the end of the competition. That could be you. Brian, what would you say to anyone watching right now who's thinking of entering?
Just enter it to win it.
You nearly got there. You've got to be in it to win it, but whatever. Here are all the details you need for our competition. You could be winning £250,000. Good luck.
For this week only, you'll also be entered into a bonus prize draw. There are 5 prizes of £10,000 to be won. Lines close today at 3 p.m. For another chance to win, text cash to 80118. Text costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to the website. Entries cost £2.50. Call 09011 209 118. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to Bonus 12 PO Box 7558 Derby DE1 0NQ. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 4th of April at 3 p.m. For a chance to win £10,000, lines close today at 3 p.m. We'll be calling the winners live during Good Morning Britain, Lorraine, This Morning or Loose Women after all entry routes have closed. Good luck!
Now, as a documentary maker, Stacey Dooley isn't afraid to navigate all sorts of complicated situations. And now she is tackling what she calls messy motherhood. Here to tell us more, it's Stacey Dooley.
Stars in your eyes.
It is, isn't it?
Tonight, Matthew, I thought... Did no one tell you to bring your tap shoes? I know, I could have done a bit of dance out.
So messy motherhood, Stacey. Why is it messy?
Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Does anyone? I mean, actually, I sort of don't want to sound too twee or too, like, worthy or whatever, but I'm actually really loving this period. I think it's actually my fave.
How old is she now?
2, just turned 2. And she's like... She's just a million miles an hour, but when they start talking, it's just a different. It's like it's just a game changer, and she's really she's just me 2.0. Like I'm raising myself, so I need to strap in. But no, I'm loving it. I think I wasn't very prepared. I wasn't particularly organised. Didn't do any of the classes. Didn't read any of the books. Didn't listen to a podcast.
Why not? Was that like a choice that you didn't wanna?
I think I just thought it would be easy. Honestly,
how are you feeling about that now?
I was like, I've never been more wrong about anything in my entire life. I thought it can't be that tricky.
Did you have friends that had children?
Yes, all my pals had kids. And I used to think, oh, they'll be all right. You know, oh, they need a nap. I thought, oh, just bring them along. They'll be all right if they don't nap.
Yeah.
But it is wicked. It is monumental. And she is, my best.
So what did you find more difficult than you anticipated then?
The sleep deprivation was tricky for me, didn't it? Like, I'm not great if I haven't had any sleep. And honest to God, it's like, I mean, they use it as a form of sort of torture, don't they? For a very good reason. And it's so intermittent, like, you'll have 20 minutes, and she was on the boob, so I was up and down the entire time. You'll have 20 minutes, and then you'll be up. Then you'll be up for 4 hours, then you'll get another 40 minutes, then you're up again. That for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
I just remember walking around.
You've got a book out now, which is Dear Minnie.
Yes.
So it's conversations with remarkable mothers.
Yeah.
So Dear Minnie, is it Dear Minnie, go to sleep?
Dear Minnie, could you go to sleep? Could you go to bed at 7 o'clock, actually? That gives me a bit of an evening. But it's,
What kind of remarkable mums are we talking about here?
So it's the reason... So we were flirting with the idea, you know, do we do a book about motherhood? I mean, it's such an oversaturated space, right? It's like everybody's got an opinion and everybody does things differently. And I was sort of so mindful that my experience of motherhood was pretty straightforward. It was relatively straightforward. Getting pregnant, you know, we were very lucky in that regard. The pregnancy itself, the birth was OK, but that's not representative. Do you know what I mean? That's not universal.
Yeah.
So I said to them, you know, in theory, I'd like to write a book, but we have to include other mothers. So it feels like we're hearing from different important perspectives. So there's loads of mums. There's like a mum who has she's sort of set her roots down here now. She's had to flee her country. A single mum, a mum of triplets, a teen mum, a mother who's like this amazing barrister, and she also happens to be blind.
And isn't there also was the visit to the convent?
So
where they don't have any babies.
Yeah. That's maybe why they sold the idea to me. But I was making a documentary and I was staying with a load of sisters in Whitby. So I was in this convent and they were a scream. I can't tell you, I don't know what I was expecting. I thought they were going to be quite straight-laced and quite square, you know? I thought I was going to feel like I was at my grandparents' or whatever. They were a delight. They were, like, great company. They were so kind of progressive and a lot more liberal than I'd maybe anticipated. And I was talking to Sister Helen and Sister Grace, and Sister Helen was basically going to me, so, you know, what are your plans for the future? And I'd always been a bit ambivalent. I was, oh, you know, whatever, we'll see. Whatever happens, happens. She was like, Stacey, you know, this career isn't going to last forever. And then what are you going to do? And I was like, what am I going to do?
She was trying to set you into panic.
You need to come and live at the convent with
But I was
us.
at this existential crisis, Kate. I was like, am I going to become a sister? I've probably missed that boat. But I did, on a serious note, it did make me think about, you know, did I want to be a mum? And I can't say it was a non-negotiable for me, and I think you've spoken about this really articulately in the past. Like, I was, you know, there was never that desire within me necessarily. I was never hugely maternal. But actually, you know, thank God she is knockout. Like, it is the best thing I've ever done. But, so if I hadn't gone to the convent, who knows? It's funny, isn't it? Like, the conversations you have.
How weird.
Yeah, but
Did they get you involved in TikTok? Because you know there's nun talk as well.
Really?
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, nun talk. Yeah.
But they really love, like, they love Strictly. They like, well, because they're not really meant to watch telly, but they have an hour on a Saturday. And they were, like, rooting for, you know, Johannes and Jot. They were, like, really cool.
Yeah.
They were, like, yeah, really unexpected. I must bring the baby to go and see the sisters, actually. Ta-da! You're babysitting because you're right.
Yeah, you're fine. I certainly know that when I've got two daughters, and that, like, a whole new anxiety came in when having children. It just changes you so much, doesn't it? And you have spoken about, you know, this feeling I think so many of us have. We talk a lot here about that, about this. It almost feels like it's become more dangerous to be a woman than ever, hasn't it? Yeah. Programmes like Adolescence, and in fact, I watched your documentary on Rape on Trial as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Where are you on all that?
Yes, I know. How old are your girls, Nadia?
21 and 17.
That must be scary because you know when they're tiny, you know where they are the entire time, and you're sort of in control, really, aren't you? Of what
it definitely gets harder.
I
when
bet.
They get older, yeah.
I bet. And the anxiety. My natural default. I'm relatively level-headed. I'm quite pragmatic. I sort of don't tend to catastrophise. The second Minnie came on the scene, it's like I wasn't...
Yeah.
I'm not rational because you're so in love with this baby and you're so desperate for nothing to ever happen.
And so responsible that nothing happens. That's the other thing.
You've put yourself as well, because you know I've always been a fan of your documentaries always, and the way that you involve yourself and approach them. Has there been a shift in what you are prepared to do now that you're a mum to Minnie, though?
Totally, Denise. It's like... Yeah, I mean, I think throughout my career, but, like, you know, I've been making the documentary since I was 20, I'm 38, so I've been doing it 18 years, and it's been, you know, I've travelled extensively, it's been such a treat, it's been the best gig, met brilliant people, but often it's been in hostile environments, you know, and kind of unfamiliar territory, and, you know, situations sort of unfold, you know, things can play out pretty quickly. So I think now I've got Minnie, I am saying no to you know, to a few of those gigs. But you know what? You never know. It might be in, you know, 10, 15 years' time I feel differently. But I just think for now I could probably do with sticking around. And on a practical note as well, she's got football on a Saturday. I want to be around. I want to do all, you know.
And you've got to put the work in to have another one as well, haven't you?
This is it. I know I need to get a wiggle on, really.
You do need to
get a wiggle on. She does need a pal. She does need a mate. Otherwise, I'm going to be reading
Kevin
that Tiger
needs to get
book.
a wiggle on.
Yeah. He's in Ireland. So it's not happening this week.
Well, listen, Stacey, the book is out now. It is Dear Minnie, Conversations with Remarkable Mothers, who sounds like they're remarkable women.
I'm so grateful, actually. I must say, they were really candid and very generous, so thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacey Dooley, everyone. Bruce and Janet are back next week. From the holidays, we'll have all the gossip, plus Paloma Faye, Sarah Davis and EastEnders James Byer here too. We'll see you live at 12:30 on Monday. Bye.
Thank you.